Hi everyone, welcome back to Pilot Labs. My name is Chirag, and in this session today, we are going to dive deep into Python. So, Python for Cisco network engineers, that's what we will be aiming at. First of all, the very first question which we have here is what exactly is Python? So, let's get started and let's understand how Python works. What is the use cases of Python? How Python can help us in day-to-day life, and how we as network engineers can use Python to automate the day-to-day task by using some Python scripts. So let's get started without wasting any time and welcome again to Python Labs. So when we talk about Python, the very first thing is that what exactly is Python? Now, Python is simply a programming language. Python is a programming language that we can say that can let you complete your task quickly and in an effective manner. When we talk about Python, there are two versions of Python. We have got Python 2 and we have got Python 3. So which one to use? We'll be using Python 3 as that is the latest one, and whatever explanation I'm going to give you will be according to Python 3. But the Python 2 version is also not very much different from Python 3. So we can say if you have got a good expertise on one of the version, then you can also work out with the other version. Then another question is, what exactly is this programming language helping us in doing? So when we talk about programming languages are there on your device for each and every task you perform, be it minimizing some window, be it opening the start menu, be it starting some application, all of the tasks which you do on your PC are somewhere being supported by some uh, program which is written in some programming language. Now, this programming language can be Python, can be Java, can be C++, can be Perl, can be Ruby, and then so on. There are various other programming languages. Now, this also brings us to another question, like if we have got so many programming languages, then why are we talking about just Python? Or why is it just Python for network engineers? Why not C++ for network engineers? Or why not Java for network engineers? Why are we sticking to Python? What's the reason behind that? So the reasons are very simple. First of all, the supportability. So Python, I would say, if the question is why Python, then some of the reasons are, first of all, that it works on different platforms. So various platforms, be it Windows, be it Mac, be it Linux, be it Raspberry, be it Pi, etc. All these support Python. So basically, there is no shortage of platforms. You can use it everywhere. After that, Python has a very simple syntax. That's another reason why we are sticking to Python, because of simple syntax. Now, since the syntax is very simple and easy to understand, anyone having zero understanding of programming languages can get started with Python. Now, for all those who are wondering that they don't have any technical understanding of things, they have never worked with any programming language. So would they be able to learn Python? Yes, you will be able to learn Python, and that too very easily. Because again, the simple syntax. Then the Pythons, as I mentioned, the simple syntax allows you to write program with very fewer lines. Now you don't have to get into various kind of typos or various kind of rules because everything is so simple. You can just simply define whatever you want to do and you can achieve that particular task by writing a particular program. Then Python runs on an interpreter system. Now, what is that interpreter system? Let's try to understand that. So when we talk about programming languages, we can usually categorize them into two types: interpreter-based programming languages and then compiler-based. Now, Python is interpreter-based. That means your code will be executed as soon as you write it. That means you don't have to compile anything. You don't have to make any piece out of it. You can simply write your code and you can execute it. That's it. You don't have to create a new file which can get executed on a particular kind of operating system and cannot get executed on a different operating system. No such things will be there. If your Python script can work on a particular, we can say, operating system, if let's say it's working on Windows, then there will no changes required to make it work on Mac, to make it work on Linux. Conditionings, I mean, such conditions would be there, obviously, that Mac should be supporting Python, Linux should be supporting Python, and so on. But if all such things are there, then we don't need any additional kind of changes for such operating systems. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we don't have to compile it into anything. You can simply write your code and you can execute that. Then Python can be treated in a procedural way and can be understood in a very great hierarchical manner. There are steps which can lead you to understanding Python in more and more details. So we as network engineers will not be discovering about the complete language. We'll be sticking to some important and crucial aspects of Python, which we as network engineers have to learn. So we'll be talking about those things in very much detail and we'll be understanding with a lot of examples. But yeah, not the complete Python. So these are few reasons why we say that we are still sticking to Python and not going on to C, C++, R, Perl, Ruby, or any other programming language. Now we have understood, okay, I've got my point that I think you have got my point that why Python is so good, right? Enough of um, making up for Python. Now the question is, how can I use Python? How do I get Python into my device? So for installing Python, there is a, we can say, website available to us, python.org. We have to visit the python.org. We have to go into the section of downloads. And once we visit that particular site, we'll be able to download the installer for the latest version of Python according to our operating system. Then once we open the downloaded installer, we'll be able to install Python. And once we have it, we'll be able to use it as well. So in this video only, I'll be guiding you how to install Python in your local machines so that you all can get started with the Python use cases and we can discuss this part together. So I'll quickly share my other screen. I'll open my browser here. So this is my browser. Now I'll go to the website which I mentioned. I'll type down python.org/downloads, enter. So once you visit python.org, you can click on downloads. And here, when you look into downloads, you will be able to see the list of all the possible operating systems here. Windows, Mac OS, other platforms can also be accessed by clicking on this particular tab. Now, I currently on this device, I'm using Windows, so I'll be clicking on this download for Windows option. And here you go. This is the installer getting installed. So once you double click on your controller installer, you will be getting a window like this, where you get to see two options: install now and customize installation. Now you need to make sure that you click on this add python.exe to path to ensure that you have it available in all the possible environments. So make sure you check this box add python.exe to path and then click on install now. After that, some files will get installed into your particular device. Once we proceed ahead with the default settings, this Python will be added to my path executable system. Once the installation is complete, I should be able to use Python in my particular device. Perfect. Now we have successfully installed the setup. I can close this particular window now. Now the question is that, okay, Python is installed successfully, but how do I use that? So in order to use Python, you have to open command prompt. So I'll go to my start menu and will search for CMD. Here's my command prompt. I'll bring it here on the screen. This is my command prompt. Now this will basically let you inside the command prompt once you open this particular window. Inside this particular command prompt, I have to type a key, or we can say a word called Python. Once I type Python into command line and press enter, this will let me inside the interpreter. Now, the, the change which we are observing here is which is something which switches us from command line to interpreter. So now we are inside the interpreter. As I mentioned earlier, interpreter is something which we are using for executing the Python codes. Inside the Python interpreter, we can see here the details related to the Python version we are using. Then that's how you basically enter the Python interpreter. And in some devices, you might have to use Python 3 here. So since we are using Python 3, you might your PC might not identify the keyword Python directly. So you can give a try with Python 3 in such scenarios as an alternative. Now, once we are inside the interpreter, we cannot do anything related to command line. So how do we exit this particular Python interpreter? So to exit the particular Python interpreter, you have to run a particular function called exit, which is going to be like this: exit with empty brackets and then hit enter. Now, once you hit enter, you will be back into the Python interpreter. So I want you guys to try this a couple of times and try to switch between your command line and the Python interpreter. Let's try to do it again. Simply, I'll say Python, or we can also write Python 3, enter. Okay, in my case, it's not going to identify it using Python 3. So I'll just simply use the keyword Python. There you go. Now I am inside the interpreter. How do I exit? I exit by saying exit and then empty brackets like that. That's how you can switch between your command line and the Python interpreter. Now, since we have just installed the Python into our device, let's also try to create a short particular program. And let's see if we can try to print out something on Python interpreter or not. So let's go back into Python interpreter. Now we'll follow the tradition and we'll write something which is hello world by using Python. So in order to type down hello world, I'll say print bracket under the quotes, I'll say hello, comma, world, exclamatory, then I'll close the quotes, I'll close the brackets, and then I'll hit enter. As the output, I'm getting the response, hello, comma, world. Whatever you mention inside these brackets, we will get the output as the same value. Now the quotation mark here in the program mark the beginning and the end of the text which you are willing to display. So whatever you are willing to display as the output, you have to surround that thing using these quotation marks. They will not appear in the results as we can see here. So in this case, the result is going to be simply this, which is hello, comma, world. And after printing hello world, we'll be trying out some basic arithmetic operators, but that we will discuss in the next video. That was all for this video. And I hope you will guys also do the installation of Python so that you can work out with the more examples right along with me. So thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Have a good day.